I get asked this question so much. I wish I had $1 for every time I get asked this question. So, everyone has seen Smyart Mark 3.5, which shoots incredibly well, and everyone wants to know, well, what kind of Mosin should I start with to build something like this with a bull barrel on it? It's a pretty simple answer. Not really. It's not very simple. Alright, you can see here I have got 3 different rifles laid out for you. They're the 3 basic types. The closest two are actually pretty good candidates, okay? This is a TU-53, and this is a 1945 Izzy, okay? This right here is a Remington made, it's never left the country. It's a Hex low wall. A hexagonal rifle is the least desirable for a heavy bull barrel, simply because it has had far too many lightning cuts made in the receiver to lighten up the receiver. We want a thicker, heavier receiver, and that is what either of these 2 candidates are. First, I want to point out to you, this is the Remington Hex, okay? Notice how much thinner this area is compared to the 1945 Izzy or the 1956 Chinese TU-53. When you're hanging a big heavy barrel off of these receivers, you want a lot of meat in this area. And a Hex receiver just doesn't have that much meat here. This is flimsier, which causes flex in the receiver, and you don't want that for an accurate gun. Now this gun, this is really the most desirable candidate, especially because of this cut right here. As you can see, it's flat on the top and it's not steeped on both sides. The TU-53 is steeped on both sides, and so it's a lighter cut. There's more lightning cuts on each side, and it's not as thick as this Izzy 1945 is. So this would be the most desirable candidate because it's the beefiest. It has the largest amount of metal in it, especially if you want to do a bolt relocation. You want to make a cut in here and move your bolt into the back. This is your best candidate right here. The next, and this is also a very important thing to look for, is whether or not it is a high wall. As you can see in here, the Hex receiver has a lightning cut right here, right in the middle of the receiver. This is a very important part of the whole receiver because the receiver can flex as their harmonic vibration is traveling up and down the receiver, and that can cause an accuracy issue. This 1945 Izzy here, as you can see, is actually a high wall. It doesn't have that lightning cut similar to the Hex. Now this TU-53 here, this does have a lightning cut. It's not quite as deep as the hexagonal one is though. If you were to use a TU-53, I would recommend maybe sticking with a shorter barrel, like a 24-inch or shorter bull barrel, or going with like a medium tapered contour. Nothing super heavy on this. This guy right here, this Izzy, this is a candidate for nice, heavy, big, long 30-inch barrel. One of the last things you want to check for when selecting a receiver to do a big, heavy bull barrel is what we call bolt slop. Alright? Now this TU-53 has virtually no bolt slop, and I will show you how to test for this. Place your thumb right here on top of the bolt and push down. Then let go, grab out here on the bolt and push up, down again. If you don't see any movement up in here, then you don't have very much bolt slop. Now I'll show you an example of a rifle that does have a little bit of bolt slop. This one's actually not too bad, but still you should be able to see this. Okay, so I'm going to push down in here. You see the movement? I press in the barrel again, see how the bolt moved up and down. This is something that would be undesirable to us.